ASB just announced their dividend for 2023 of 5.25%, making it the highest since 2019. To be honest, I've been getting a bit worried because the dividend trend has been going down, so it's nice to see it finally go up. So today, I'll be talking about my thoughts on it, why I think ASB is still one of the best investments out there, and I'll show you guys some calculations on whether if you took ASB financing in 2023, would it have been worth it? First of all, real quick, for those of you guys who don't know, ASB is a fund managed by PNB or Permodalan Nasional Berhad. They are a local investment management company whose goal is to help Malaysians invest their money. So ASB Amanah Saham Bumiputera, that is their flagship fund, and it has given us a return of around 5% over the last few years. Previously, it used to be even higher. It used to be around 7 to 8% dividends per year. It's sad that just as I started working, earning my own money, investing it, the dividends dropped. Right? In 2017, it was 8.25%. In 2018, it was 7%. That's when I started working, and then literally the next year, the dividends dropped to just around 5%. Anyway, the biggest draw or the biggest reason why people want to invest in Amanah Saham is that the risk is extremely low. So how ASB works is that it's a fixed price fund, meaning this fund, each unit is worth 1 ringgit, and the price will not change. So it will not go higher than 1 ringgit, it will not go lower than 1 ringgit. So the way that we make money is that every year, ASB will announce a dividend and they'll pay it out to us. This is how they encourage Malaysians to invest, I guess. Some of us are a bit more risk averse. We don't want to see our money, drop in value, our investment value go down. So they're giving us a very, very low risk investment. I would say low risk because the only way we lose money is if ASB or PNB goes bankrupt, which is very unlikely. But they're also giving us a pretty decent return of around 5%. Unfortunately, ASB is reserved for Bumiputeras in Malaysia, meaning not everyone can access it. But if you're not a Bumiputera, then they also have other fixed price funds like ASM or Amanah Saham Malaysia. So again, unfortunately, this fund is not unlimited in quota like ASB, so you will have to fight for quota, and most of the times it is full. But sometimes they will have special periods where they will actually increase the quota. So for example, in 2023, early in 2023, they increased the fund size of ASM by 5 billion ringgit, and a lot of non-Bumiputeras threw their money there to take the offer. So just look for these kind of things so you can put your money in. Anyway, let's get back to this year's ASB dividend and the split that we're getting. So the 5.25% that we're getting, it actually comprises of a 4.25% base dividend and a 1% dividend that is considered a bonus. So the good news is this year, the 1% bonus will apply to all of our units, which has been confirmed by ASB themselves on Twitter. So this means that this year's dividend can actually be quite a bit higher than last year's. So last year, we got a 3.35% dividend as the base, a 1.25% bonus, and then another additional bonus of 0.5%. If you add all of that up, last year it would have been 5.1%. So you might be thinking, it's not such a huge increase, right? Last year, total 5.1%. This year, total 5.25%. The thing is, last year's additional bonus of 0.5%, it only applied to the first 30,000 ringgit that you had invested into ASB. Whereas this year, the entire bonus, it applies to all of your investments into ASB. So let's say you're someone who has 200,000 ringgit invested into Amanah Saham. This year, you would have gotten 10,500 ringgit in dividends, whereas last year, you would have gotten 9,350 ringgit. So yeah, it can be quite a bit more if you have a lot invested into ASB. But I guess if you have 30,000 ringgit or under, then yeah, the dividends you get this year won't be that much more compared to last year. So what do I think about this? My first thoughts are that it's actually pretty good. 5.25% for a pretty much zero risk investment, that is a pretty good deal. The thing is, I kind of expected it to already be above 5%, so this wasn't a major surprise for me. So Bursa didn't do so well in 2023, but a lot of foreign markets, especially the US, they have performed extremely well, which means that all of ASB's investments, foreign or overseas, would have gotten them a pretty nice return. But the key thing, and the reason that I thought that ASB was going to give a higher dividend, was that interest rates globally has all gone up, meaning ASB could have just invested into fixed income products and they would have gotten a pretty juicy return just from that as well. Some economists already think that ASB will give a higher return next year, even higher than what we got this year, and I wouldn't mind it, right? I wouldn't mind if ASB returns went back to 7-8% dividends a year. If that was the case, I would literally throw all of my money into ASB. But even at around 5% plus returns, I would say that ASB is still one of the best investments out there for Malaysian Bumiputras. So investors all around the world would actually fight for a return like this with zero risk. I'll give you guys an example. In 2023, like I said, interest rates all went up. So the US Treasury, which is essentially money that the US is borrowing, the US government is borrowing, so it's considered a very, very low risk investment, just like ASB, but their rates went up to over 5%. And I was looking on Twitter, Americans, they were all saying this is the best deal that they've ever seen in their lifetime, getting more than 5% returns on almost zero risk. So they were all throwing their money into this investment. I guess us Malaysians, we've had this for quite a while, so we don't really appreciate it, but it is a very good deal. Having said this, I wouldn't throw all of my investments into ASB. So I've seen some people say that if you don't max out your ASB of 300,000 ringgit, then you shouldn't even consider investing anywhere else. So I don't really agree with this. I actually think that you can put your money somewhere else as well. So especially if you're in your 20s or 30s, you can take a bit more risk for potentially higher returns. I'll give you guys an example. If you invested into ETFs, which is essentially stocks in 2023, if you invested into US ETFs, like the S&P 500, you would have gotten over 20% in returns. And if you put it into an ETF like the QQQ, which is a Nasdaq 100, you would have gotten returns of more than 50%. Of course, these investments, they have risk. The price will fluctuate. Some years you will lose money, but over the long run, it will give you higher returns to ASB, or it has been over the last few years at least. So yeah, if you're in your 20s, 30s, you still have a long way to go until retirement. You can afford to take a bit more risk to get that higher returns. Yes, it is risky, but for 5 times or even 10 times more returns, it can be worth it. But of course, ASB will still have a part to play in my portfolio. Like I said, it is a very good deal. So my emergency funds, for example, I still have in ASB. I think it's one of the best places for us to put our emergency funds. Also, any savings that I would need in the next 1 to 3 years. So let's say if I was saving down payment on a car, or if I wanted to save up for a holiday fund, then yes, ASB is a really good place to put it because it's zero risk and my investment value won't go down. Also, I still have my ASB financing, which I started in 2018. Back when I started working, that was actually the first investment that I ever made. So this is actually a good segue into the next section of this video. Is ASB financing still worth it if you had it in 2023? So a lot of people have an opinion on this. I've seen people argue about it on Twitter, on social media, everywhere. Why would you take a loan to invest into ASB? The monthly payment that you make on your loan, it's higher than the dividends that you're going to receive from ASB. So obviously it's not worth it, right? So in this section of the video, I'll show you guys the math, because the math never lies. So what I'll do is I'll make a comparison of someone who invests directly into ASB versus someone who invests via ASB financing. But for this comparison to be fair, we have to make sure that the investment amounts are exactly the same regardless of which option we choose. So for this example, let's take a 200,000 ringgit loan for 35 years from Maybank. By the way, if you didn't know, the reason that we're taking 35 years is because if you go for ASB financing, you should always go for the longest tenure option that you can get. So it's because we're leveraging our money, we're hoping to get more from it. I won't explain so much in this video, but just trust me, we always want to go for the longest tenure out there. I've seen some banks offer 40-year loans on ASB financing, so if you can get that, then just go for it. If you take a loan and you go for something like 10 to 15 years, then actually ASB financing won't be worth it, and you might as well just invest directly into ASB. Maybank has some promo ongoing, which is kind of annoying for the comparison. So for the first 3 years, you will pay 4.2% interest, whereas after that, you'll pay 4.5% interest. So to make everything simple, let's just say we're going to pay 4.5% interest. So based on their repayment table, if you take a 200,000 ringgit loan and you take it for 35 years, your monthly payment will be 945 ringgit. By the way, if you guys want to apply for ASB financing from Maybank, you can click on the link. I'll leave it down below. You can just click on it and then apply. So anyway, is it worth it to take on this ASB financing loan and pay 945 ringgit every month in your loan? Or should you just take that 945 ringgit and invest it directly into ASB? Like I said, we're making it a fair comparison, so exactly same investment amounts every single month. Let's look at the numbers. So we're going to assume as well that we're going to start investing on the 1st of January 2023, just so that we get a full picture of the entire year. Firstly, let's compare the dividends that you would have gotten this year. By the way, if you guys didn't know, the way that ASB calculates the dividend payment is that they will take the lowest monthly balance, and then they will prorate it, and then they will pay you a dividend based on that. So just to give you guys an example, if on the 1st of January 2023, you invested 10,000 ringgit into ASB, then as of that time, your lowest balance for January is 10,000 ringgit. But let's say if you withdraw that 10,000 ringgit on the 20th of January, this means that now your ASB balance is 0 and your lowest monthly balance for the month of January will be 0. This means that you will not get any dividends for your investment in January. So this is why I always say that you shouldn't treat ASB as short-term savings. You should only put your money there if you're going to leave it for at least, I would say, 3 to 6 months. If you need the money within the same month or you need it in a few weeks, then it's better to just put it into a money market fund because at least you will get returns. Anyway, back to the calculation. I'll give you guys a small spoiler. Obviously, ASB Financing is going to destroy directly investing into ASB in terms of dividends. This is because as of the 1st of January 2023, if you took out an ASB Financing loan, you will already have 200,000 ringgit right from the start. Whereas if you did 945 ringgit monthly into ASB directly, then your capital will slowly grow as the year progresses. And even by the end of the year, you will still not hit 200,000 ringgit in capital in your ASB. So ASB Financing, 200,000 ringgit, the calculation is very simple. 200,000 ringgit multiplied by 5.25%, meaning you will receive a dividend of 10,500 ringgit in 2023. For the direct ASB investment, like I said, obviously your dividends won't be as much because you're slowly building up your capital as the months progress, as you contribute every single month. So in January, you will get dividends of about 4 ringgit, which is not so much, but by December, you'll get a dividend of around 50 ringgit. For the entirety of 2023, if you put in 945 ringgit directly into ASB, you will get a dividend of 322 ringgit. So in terms of dividends, if you went for ASB Financing, you will get 10,500 ringgit. If you went for ASB directly, you'll get 322 ringgit. This isn't a surprise. Like I said, dividend-wise, ASB Financing will destroy. But how about your capital saved up? So after contributing 945 ringgit a month directly into ASB, you multiply that by 12 months, you would have 11,340 ringgit in ASB. That's quite a bit of money, right? 11,340 ringgit. That's already more than the dividends from ASB Financing. So surely it means that directly investing into ASB is better, right? Well, no. Because you have to remember that even though you are taking a loan to invest into ASB, every month when you make your monthly payment, a portion will go to your principal and a portion will go to your interest. So this is similar to a mortgage loan when you buy a house. Every month when you make payments, some will go to interest, some will go to principal. And the thing is, when you terminate your ASB financing, which you can terminate at any time, you will have something they call a surrender value, which means this value that you've already paid in principals, they will leave it in your ASB account. So based on my calculation, if you took a 200,000 ringgit loan and you paid 945 ringgit a month, in your first year, by the end of the first year, you would have a surrender value of 2,389 ringgit. So now, let's compare the total investment that you would have in your ASB between the two options. Remember, we're investing the exact same amount, 945 ringgit a month going to a loan payment or 945 ringgit going directly into ASB. So if you invested directly into ASB, you would have a capital saved up of 11,340 ringgit and a dividend payment of 322 ringgit. Meaning if you went directly with ASB for the whole year, you would have a total of 11,622 ringgit in your Amanah Saham. Not bad. But if you went for ASB Financing, you would have a capital value or surrender value of 2,389 ringgit and you would have gotten dividends of 10,500 ringgit. Meaning your total, if you went for ASB Financing, is 12,889 ringgit. So still, ASB Financing wins. So again, like I said, this is just based on math. ASB Financing is still mathematically better than, going directly via ASB if you invest the same amount every month. Obviously, don't ask me the question of, hey, if I have 200,000 ringgit and I put it straight into ASB, obviously it'll be better, right? Yes, obviously it will be better, but not many people have 200,000 ringgit to invest, right? Or you could take that 200,000 ringgit, invest it somewhere else like the S&P 500 and then just go for ASB Financing as well. So having done this calculation, I decided that I will keep my ASB Financing moving into 2024 and beyond. The returns are just a lot better compared to trying to invest directly into ASB. If you currently have an ASB Financing account already and you're paying a lot more than 4.5%, then I will highly recommend talking to your bank, negotiating with them, asking them to bring the rate down. if they don't want to bring the rate down, then I would say just terminate the loan, take your surrender value, and then apply for ASB financing again via Maybank. Anyway, there's two reasons that I decided to keep my ASB financing. Obviously, just because it outperformed in 2023 doesn't mean it will outperform in 2024. But the two reasons are that, one, I do think that the ASB returns will be similar or even higher in 2024, just like what the economists think. I think the markets are all pretty good, interest rates are good, fixed income rates are good, so they should be able to give similar-ish returns. And the second thing is, I don't think that Malaysia is going to increase their OPR any further. So our current rate is 3%. I don't think over the next 2-3 years we will go higher than 3%, meaning that our ASB financing payments shouldn't go up as well. But obviously, if things change, if let's say ASB's return suddenly is extremely low, or if Bank Negara surprisingly increases OPR, then I might change my mind as well. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it was informational to you guys. Let me know your thoughts on ASB in 2024 and whether you would go for ASB financing. Thanks for watching this video to the end, guys. Give us a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed this video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.